Kevin Zorda,
Here.
Virginia Higley here, Robert Chagnon,
Here.
Jane Smith is coming, Carrie Ann Howe,
Here.
Joseph Mueller.
Here.
And I'd like to seat Joe. Because we're missing John, I believe. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, fire evacuation procedures. If there is an emergency, we need to leave the room. You can exit the doors and out and down the stairs and away from the building, or you can take the doors in the back of the room and again, go down the stairs and away from the building. And we could jump out the windows. Are they open?
I'll let you do it, Roger.
Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public participation. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak regarding issues not on the agenda? Again, anybody in the audience want to speak regarding issues not on the agenda? One last time. Anybody want to speak regarding issues not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Any correspondence? I don't believe we had any. No. Okay. Commissioners' correspondence and site visits. Anybody have, to my right? No,
None.
gentlemen, ladies? No. Okay. Approval of minutes, we don't have any with us today. Moves us on to old business. The next two items are, we had public hearings on. The public hearings were closed on September 5th at our last meeting, so they will be just for discussion only by us. And first one is IW number 581, 33 Post Office Road, application for swimming pool, design center, and distribution facility. Clarence K., owner applicant, map 47, lot 30, I-1 zone industrial. Public hearing was closed on September 5th. Deadline for a decision is November 9th. So, does anybody have any comments, discussion, questions?
None.
Everybody's happy with what we heard? Okay. Do I have any motions?
I move that whereas the Enfield Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency has received an application for a distribution center for pools and spas located at 33 Post Office Road, and whereas the Enfield Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency held 2 public hearings to review and receive public comments on the proposed application on July 18, 2017 and September 5, 2017, and whereas it is the responsibility of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency to determine if the proposed use is the least disruptive to protected wetlands, and whereas the applicant has submitted a plan with an intense use of the property, including in-ground swimming pools, parking buildings, and display areas for swimming pools, and whereas the applicant has not demonstrated that there are no prudent or feasible alternatives to these intense uses, and whereas testimony at the public hearing indicated adverse impacts on neighboring wetlands and watercourses, which could cause an irreversible or irretrievable loss of wetlands or watercourses resources. Now therefore be it resolved. Resolved, the Enfield Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency hereby denies Inland Wetlands 581 for a distribution center for pools and spas located at 33 Post Office Road, and the reference plans are as cited on this memo.
I will second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Donna?
So, if we say yes, we're saying we
voting to
agree with the
approve this.
resolution. Right. Yes, then.
It's poorly worded.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yes.
Virginia, yes. Robert?
No.
Jane isn't here. Carrie Ann?
Yes.
And Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
So 5 in favor, 1 against, motion passes. So unfortunately, the application was denied. Next on the agenda is number 582, lots 69 and 70 Hazard Avenue. We have 2 to look at, actually, for this application. Is the application to change of wetland boundaries. So I think we should go with that one first. Anybody have any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, can I have roll call, please?
Do we need to make a motion?
Do we, yeah, we need a motion, sorry. Yeah, we need a motion.
I'll make a
Moving
motion.
too fast.
Let me make sure I got the right one here. All right, whereas the Inland Wetland and Watercourses Agency has received an application for a boundary amendment to the town wetlands map for property located at lots 69 and 70 Hazard Avenue, map 65, lot 69, map 65, lot 70, business professional BP zone, and whereas the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency has reviewed the application materials submitted for IW number 582, and whereas a public hearing was held on July 18, 2017, and September 5th, 2017. Whereas the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency has determined that the boundaries as delineated by the soils scientist are appropriate. Now therefore be it resolved. Resolved, the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency hereby approves IW number 582 for the boundary amendment to the town wetlands map for property located at lots 69 and 70 Hazard Avenue, map 65, lot 69, map 65, lot 69, business professional zone according to the below referenced plan, which is noted on this form.
Actually, there's one thing on this. The map and lot reference for both are identical, because it's map 65, 69, map 65, 69. So
Yeah.
it should be changed to map 65, 69 and map 65, 70.
For our record, yeah.
Okay.
So corrected.
Can I roll call, please?
Oh, I'll officially second.
There you go.
Donna,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Virginia, I abstain. Robert,
Yes.
Jane's not here. Carrie Ann,
Yes.
Joseph.
Yes.
Okay, 5 in favor, 1 abstain, motion passes for the change of the wetland boundaries. The next part of this application is for the construction of 2 proposed new buildings and a private driveway. George Karanian, owner applicant, map lot 65, 69, map 65, lot 70, I should say. Business professional zone, public hearing closed on September 5th, deadline is November 9th. Do we have any discussions?
The only additional thing that I would like to see added as a condition of approval is some sort of protection just in the construction plan for any surrounding trees, just to make sure what's left there, what's not cut down, is protected so that there's some sort of appropriate protection.
Perhaps staff could go out and make sure the trees are marked so they don't mysteriously disappear
Correct. Yeah, that'd be great.
before construction.
No, wait. Step mark trees.
And
For the ones that are going to be cut or stay?
for the ones that stay,
Yeah.
should be protected. They only mark the ones that are cut.
Yeah. Okay.
And additionally, I just would like to make the statement and thank you for putting the conservation area in. It's much appreciated.
The other thing is, the conservation area map would have to be filed for the land records. right?
Yes, they would actually have to professionally draw it and submit it with their final plans, and it would have to be recorded on the land records. I think we have that as a condition in here.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
And just one question, are we actually doing a conservation easement on that portion? Or is it just going to be the map?
No, it's a conservation easement to the town.
All right.
Then I'd like the map to show that it would be a conservation easement area, rather than just a conservation area.
Yeah, I think that's on there.
That'll be a condition. Okay. That's all I had.
All right. Shall I make a motion?
Sure.
All right, I'll make a motion. Whereas the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency has received an application for the construction of 2 proposed new buildings and a private shared access drive, map 65, lot 69, map 65, lot 70, business professional BP zone, and whereas the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency has reviewed the application materials submitted for IW number 582, and whereas a public hearing was held on July 18, 2017 and September 5th, 2017. And whereas the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency has determined that it is necessary to provide for a conservation area in order to protect fragile wetland areas. And whereas the Planning Office has provided a conservation area map attached. And whereas the applicant agreed to a conservation area at the public hearing of September 5th, 2017. And whereas with this conservation area, the commission finds that the proposed development will not have an adverse impact on the site wetlands or watercourses or adjoining properties. Now therefore be it resolved, the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency hereby approves IW number 582 for the proposed construction of 2 new buildings and a private driveway located at lots 69 and 70, Hazard Avenue, map 65, lot 69, map 65, lot, should say 70, same typo on this one. Business professional zone according with the reference plans and with the following conditions. That the,
So you have 23 and just adding the 24th.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, we're going to have the 2 more,
yeah. We're gonna add just
the surrounding trees.
yeah, that the, any trees that remain are protected during construction.
And marked,
I'm sorry,
and also marked,
and marked,
so they're staying.
yeah, so.
They don't get
and-
cut down. And the
And-
conservation easement is
And the
shown.
conservation easement shown on the map accordingly.
Yes, that's 24 and 25.
I will second.
Okay. Okay.
Donna,
Yes,
Kevin,
Yes,
Virginia abstaining, Robert,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Carrie Ann,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain, motion passes.
And just a housekeeping detail, if Commissioner Smith could just state on the record that she
Yes.
familiarized herself with the record.
Yeah,
Funny, I was just going to say that, Roger. I was like, and for the record, I did watch the meeting last week's meeting this afternoon and read through all the documentation. So you're faster than me, Roger.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Thank you. Next on the agenda is new business. Thank you. Is there any new business? I don't believe there is. No. Reports of officers and committees. Anybody have anything? No. Report of the planning director. Did you have anything for us?
No, we received an application this afternoon. That would be the only thing. Remind me what the application is. 100 Print Shop Road. If you remember 100 Print Shop Road, that was the general area in which, when I first arrived in Enfield, I learned about a no-mow zone.
Yes.
And I remember the whole issue about a no-mow zone and so forth. So now what they're looking to do is to tear down a portion of the building and put outdoor loading docks in that area. There's like several parcels, and they're all interchanged with cross easements, as you recall. So that will be, I guess, coming forward at your next meeting.
Okay.
And then also, I was told today that very shortly you'll be getting the wetland application on the Elm Street property that's across the street from, Walgreens.
Walgreens?
That zone was changed on that a couple of year or so back from residential to BL. So the application, the wetland application for that will soon be coming in. So there's a couple of applications that are out there, and there may be others, but there's an awful lot of interest in the town of Enfield, and things continue to move, and it's good that we can continue to help folks grow and invest in the town.
Okay.
Should we discuss the email about
The DPW?
the DPW?
Yes, we did receive an email today asking whether truck wash at the Department of Public Works would have to come here. It is within the wetland review area, but there is no impact on the wetland according to the engineering office. It will have to go to Aquifer Protection Agency, which is the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it will have to get a planning and zoning approval as well. So that what they're asking is, do they also have to come to inland wetlands? And I felt that was something the board itself should answer.
My feeling is that perhaps they should do an application, but we can leave it to staff to make a staff decision.
Yeah, that's what we're,
Okay, your preference is, unless we can demonstrate it really doesn't need it, ought to come here.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, okay. Last week, somebody asked about the railroad ties, or last meeting. I think, are we all set with that, or?
Yeah, I think, didn't we hear testimony that it was there, or I think you mentioned that it's actually not something it's not made with creosote at that
Correct.
point. So,
And that it had been, that those ties have been there forever.
Yep.
And it had been, I personally did a little inspection and a little history checking. And as I said at the last meeting, really the request for updates should come from the town manager's office, because the railroad is really a state entity.
right.
The gentleman who owns Tarnall Nursery was here earlier tonight because he has received a cease and desist from zoning, as well as a notice of wetland violations. And he was hoping to have a discussion with this board about changing his conditions of approval so he wouldn't have violations. And I suggested to him that that would be something he would actually have to apply for, and it'd be circulated and put on an agenda. And that was not on the agenda tonight. I suggested that he call Rick Rochelle in the morning about what his suggestions might be.
Okay.
I found very interesting, I was in the state wetlands regs looking for something totally different. And I noticed that I understood that the town had the ability to fine for violations. the town also has the ability, the Wetlands Agency, to rescind the permit. So that might be something to use in the future on anyone that is blatantly not working with Rick or whoever's working with it, either or. You get fines, but we can also take back the permit, and then you have to start all over again and cease it while you do it.
That's interesting.
Let me ask you also, Roger, if his application was that the use was going to be for growing crops, and has anybody
seen
seen any crop growing? Any?
You mean the stones and the stumps
Right.
aren't crops?
No, he cut down all the trees. He clear cut the area because he was going to be growing.
He's going to put in hoop houses or something.
Right.
And, but then he also, as part of his approval, was he couldn't bring any fill in and he couldn't take any fill out. But so he took the trees down, but he didn't plant anything there. So, and it's, he came in and he applied for many, many things, as you recall.
Yeah.
Basically, and where they were going to have all of the stone and different types of things was supposed to be in the back and a
Yeah.
specific type of a building, and it's out front and just like cinder block areas. There's a long list, and he's been cited for them all, and we'll just have to be diligent.
Right. So my question to you is there a time frame in which he actually has to start those uses? Like he has to start growing something? No?
Well, when you go to P&Z, they say you have to, on a P&Z application, it says you have to take out a building permit within 2 years, and you have to finish within 5. But I don't know that this commission has been putting anything in there that says you have to show, commence whatever your regular activity is. It simply says you have 5 years, and then if you haven't done it in 5 years, you have to come back and renew it.
Okay.
So, that's one of the issues we can't really tell him he has to plant something there unless this commission makes a determination that by stripping the trees out, he's going to cause irretrievable harm if he doesn't stabilize that in some way.
Okay.
Which you could do. Or, the other issue is where you approve things to be, they aren't.
Right.
So
That's a problem.
it gets to the question right now: what is he doing that is in accordance with his approved plans? And the building's in the same place, but the second building that he had approval for is becoming blighted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those cinder block storage areas that he's got set up, would that have been on the part of the building approval for building and planning and zoning? Or is that just or does it have to meet a certain height criteria for that to be part of their purview?
It was on ours.
I know it was on ours, but I mean,
The actual construction.
the actual construction of and location of
The building,
isn't we approved it in a certain
Right.
location, yes, but.
the building department only gets involved if something's taller than 8 feet. And I'm not sure, did it go to planning and zoning?
He did go to planning and zoning.
You would have had to.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
And whether or not that's a permanent structure too. That's not really a permanent structure.
No, he did get violation notices from planning and zoning as well.
Right.
And then the other one that went out today for enforcement was the Powder Hollow Sand and Gravel. Received violation notice from the Wetlands Commission. It received violation notices from the Aquifer Protection Agency, and it received violation notices from the Planning and Zoning Commission. We reviewed all of them with the Office of the Town Attorney prior to sending them. There are, in addition to the runoff, there's grading and regrading taking place that would require a permit. And there's the new activity of bringing in the asphalt, grinding it up at the site. There's also the storage of Jersey barriers, and there's the storage of sewer pipe. And then there's the construction of the relocation of the driveway. All of those activities require permits from Wetlands, Aquifer Protection, and Planning and Zoning. So, that's been an issue that's been around for a whole year as we've researched it and discussed it amongst all of the commissions. So we're hoping that we can receive a compliance plan and schedule that moves that property into compliance. And so we'll get you copies of what went out today. Am I missing anything? We have, just for your information, we have new zoning regulations, new zoning regulation book that we'll get you just for your informational purposes. The commission adopted about 7 or 8 significant amendments in the last 2 or 3 months. Most of them went into effect last Friday. So in the process of incorporating them, we tried to clean it up a little bit, get rid of typos and that sort of thing. And it's amazing, by putting something on double-sided paper, it went from this many to this many. So we've streamlined them.
Thank you.
Save paper.
Microfiche should make it real small.
Involved in all of this stuff or whatever. I'm not telling them because we got about 5 minutes before our time expires.
All I can think about is we're still waiting on the Phase 3 for Winstanley, 25 Bacon Road, and the Flex building on the old Metro property. They keep threatening to come back.
Oh, yeah, the Flex building would be one that this commission would, what is it called, Metro?
The old Metro property on King Street.
Which building is the Flex building?
It's not built yet. They want to build.
Okay, well, let me rephrase. The property is where?
It's had various names. I think it's called Metro Park or something
the old
like
Metro
that.
Park property. It's on King Street.
It's on King Street, and the proposal is for a two major buildings. The last time I looked at one of the plans, they had a parking lot going in on partially where they had identified a vernal pool, and I suggested to them that that's probably something they might want to change before they got to this commission. But that should be coming in fairly soon. It's kind of, if you go into the Wetlands Commission and it says vernal pool and then it has parking lot, you're kind of like...
Well, that's for the salamanders if they want to stay for dinner.
Right underneath maybe it could be pervious pavers with air holes. But other than that, it's a challenge on many of these sites. I think the commission did a great job tonight in trying to figure out a way that 6970 could be developed, and also, protect the wetlands on there. And so that's what we have to do. People come in all the time and they ask, well, what can we do there? There's one property, Jen, that you keep getting asked the same question, and you keep telling them that the site is 80% wet, so that would be challenging.
That's 30 Bacon Road. It's for sale. There's been a lot of people asking about it, but there's so many wetlands on it that people kind of get a little nervous. But
and so we can't tell them you can't do anything there. We just have to point out that the town map says it's 80% wet, but you're free to have a soil scientist go out and find out if the town map is actually correct.
And when you buy property and you're a business, you're supposed to do due diligence before you buy the property.
Well, this is what the people are doing. They're coming in and saying, well, I want to do X there. Can I actually do that there? And, yeah, and it's, but I say, you remember 33 Post Office Road? They met with me and Rick, and then the very first time they were before this commission, they said, well, they met with Roger and Rick and bought the property. And you remember I said, whoa, wait a second. Hold the fort. I didn't tell you to buy the property. I said you'd have to go to Wetlands and P&Z. But the fact that I told them there was an approval process. So now we have to be very careful that, yeah. So with that, I guess your next regular meeting is October 3rd. And if the 100 Print Shop Road application is in pretty good shape, that'll be on your agenda. If not, I guess we might have to roll it till the second meeting of October.
Okay.
All right?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Good, good.